Always love a good Kazrak sighting, so had to jump on this replay from Galrush from his High Elves perspective as he is facing off against the old goat himself on his chariot. We've got a Brave Shaman Lord Wild here also on the chariot, a couple of Corn Gores, some Centigores, taking some bow shots already from those Reaver Archers. Ungor Spearmen, a single Raider, and some Centigores. We've also got the Butchers of Kalkengard here, Blackhorn's Ravagers out on the flank, and Centigores of Zinj to back them up. Up against them, the High Elves have got a staunch line of spears, including the Scions of Mathland, which is not a unit you see super often because their ROR ability is arguably kind of useless. They do get 10% ward save when your Winds of Magic is 15 or greater. I'd find this to generally not be that good because typically you're casting your spells. Sometimes you're saving your magic in certain situations, but most of the time you're going to be casting your spells kind of as it comes. Plus 55 meters is decent size. 10% damage resistance is decent. Doesn't make a huge difference, but yeah, just, I don't know. For the extra cost, definitely doesn't seem worth it to me. But anyway, we do have some Silverins and Spearmen. They do, of course, get the extra rank 9 stats as well, all the way up to 60 melee defense. Yeah, and expert charge defense as well. We've got some Lothern Seaguard shields to back him up, Fireborn, and Teclis leading the way. Looks like he's got Nets, Regrowth, Flock, all the things he would want. So, let's take a look, see how he'll do. Yeah, get in close here and kind of watch the action unfold. Centigores are going to try and come up and around the flank here. Blackhorn's Ravagers also coming from the high ground out on the flank. Could potentially come in and do some pretty good work, but let's see. The Butchers of Kalkengard also kind of hanging back for now. The Bows of the High Elves definitely very punishing. But, yeah, the mobile units for Beastmen here don't include any anti-large. Instead, the anti-large is in the infantry here, these Corn Gores and Ungor Spearman herd. The Fireborn are just going to punch up in this front line, try and maybe surround Kazrak, but nope, they pull away there as the Butchers of Kalkengard, Corn Gores come through. The Butchers are definitely a choice in this matchup. They're weak to fire damage and generally will lose against the Fireborn, which is definitely a common pick in any matchup against the High Elves. So definitely something to be aware of. That specific interaction makes them less good, although they are a very good Regiment of Renown in general. Specifically here, they can struggle because of that. And let's see if they get matched against the Fireborn here. They've eaten a buff now, Apocalyptic Vision from Kazrak. They're going to charge on in. I think they do actually have the charge order on Fireborn. There is this Silverin Guard mixed in here, which is going to make a pretty big difference for the High Elves. Kazrak also charges in, though, himself. Going to get a few attacks in. Yeah, the Scion, or the Spearman, rather, Silverin Guard left to die while the Fireborn pull away. A little bit too much meat for them, for the Beastmen. Centigores, the throwing axes, also dumping their ammo in there. No surprises, though. Silverin Guard are able to best the Ungor Spearman herd relatively quickly. The regular Spearmen will beat them slower, but they will beat them over time. So these Beastmen, mobile, large units, got to get the work done. And Kazrak charging through. Potentially vulnerable to getting surrounded here, but it looks like the charge order is instead on the Butchers. They get netted and rear charged by the Fireborn. Let's watch that shock damage play out as their health bar drops dramatically. Centigore is also caught up in this engagement. Definitely not good for the Beastmen at all, but could perhaps save things with a really nasty Traderkin here. Nuking those high-value cavalry for the High Elves. Check in with the Butchers of Kalkengard. They've managed to get in on this flank, like completely uninvolved in any of this heinous action. So far, they're, you know, getting through the Lothern Seaguard slowly but surely. Definitely cost-effective engagement for them. Meanwhile, oh yeah, there's a very good engagement for the Brave Shaman. He manages to get his chariot into a duel with Teclis, especially with his charge bonus active. It'll be pretty good, but even without it, just in general, I mean, the stats are not amazing. I think there are Teclises, so it's a fight he might want to take. Throw a little Traderkin. That will definitely swing things in his favor, although he does eat a miscast on that. Still gets the upgraded Traderkin off. Might be enough to finish off Teclis, at least force him into a rout here, but we'll see. He's going to keep pulling through here while Kazrak does the same, kind of getting into those Corn Gores, giving them a nice buff, trying to screen the Dragon Princess with the Corn Gores. Definitely a very solid play. Both players kind of pull their high-value units away there. The Dragon Princes are going to eat that nice regrowth. refresh their vigor and their health. And the Centaurs also moving through, pursuing some Reaver Archers. They managed to beat down some of the Reaver Archers, but which is Falcon Guard now coming back from routes. Ooh, Kazarak's got to be a little bit careful here not to get surrounded again. Trying to screen through his own Centaurs once more, but yeah, the throwing axes really have been used a lot in melee here, probably more than they wanted to. As a result, haven't really performed. Yeah. Yeah, Blackhorn's Ravagers here are going to do a pretty good job. Yeah, clean up those Lothran Sea Guard, maybe move on to another unit there. Dragon Princess in the back line too, these Fireborn. The screen, well, let's see how much of a difference that makes. The Centaurs do kind of interrupt, don't allow the Fireborn to get a great clean charge into those Butchers, so the Butchers aren't getting completely wrecked immediately, but I'd imagine just the sustain stats the Fireborn, 52 melee defense with that Martial Mastery active is enough, but they'll win out even exhausted, or very tired rather, as they are. Not fully exhausted yet, but Martial Prowess, Martial Mastery even still online makes a huge difference for them, definitely. Brave Shaman getting pretty low here. Would like to maybe throw out one more Traderkin if he can. He's gonna not commit to that melee engagement fully. Yep, looks like that Traderkin, as predicted, immediately gonna be thrown down. Does hit all the remaining cavalry. Reaver's gonna die to that. Fireborn also probably get low enough. I don't know if they actually rout, but they are gonna be certainly much affected by it. Blackhorn's Ravagers actually get the Apocalyptic Vision as well, up to 63 melee attack with that active into the Fireborn. Even though they don't have AP, they're just going to be getting very consistent hits, little chips of damage over time, which did make some difference there. Fireborn pull away, having taken some pretty significant damage. And the Blackhorn's Ravagers haven't heard no bell. They're going to have to do some serious heavy lifting, though, as they're basically the only healthy unit left for the Beastmen. We've got a handful of Raiders here hanging around, dumping some arrows into the shielded Sea Guard. Won't do too much. Kazarak himself also being so wounded is a problem for the Beastmen. They're going to probably have some leadership issues if he goes down. But the Lothran Sea Guard still have so much ammunition left. These two units, definitely enough to finish off Kazarak. They're able to focus, but right now, the speed of the Beastmen is going to come back to significantly help them. Although the Fireborn also coming back to hurt them. Yeah, the Beastmen infantry speed being so much faster, especially, I mean, the shielded Lothran Sea Guard are even slower than the base Lothran Sea Guards, so yeah, they have a hard time getting away. Even Ungors, but especially those Blackhorn's Ravagers, able to just get in, get the work done. I mean, they're 150 kills and 1500 damage value for like a shielded, like unarmored infantry unit. That's actually insane. I know they have perfect vigor, which is a big factor to consider in this late game, now that we have Vigor on the stat cards. The fact that, like, the Centaurs, of course, have perfect Vigor as well, with that Rowdy passive still active, as long as they're not wavering. And then these guys, Blackhorn's Ravagers, same thing. They have that same Rowdy passive, right? Since they're regiments from now, they haven't taken much damage. Doing pretty good on the leadership front, at least for now. That gives them that sweet, perfect Vigor. And they're going to charge down the Lothran Sea Guard here and continue their absolute reign of destruction while Kazarak chases some Sea Guards off. Going to try and not get shot by that handful of regrouped Sea Guards there. There's 34 of them, which is certainly enough to be threatening. These regrouped Sea Guards here also finishing off the Khorngor's leadership, so it's getting very close at this point. Not looking amazing for the Beastmen, just due to the fact their leadership is pretty low, but Ungor Spearman Herd being used to kind of chase these routing Spearmen. Definitely great use for them. I actually don't know. We might have had just a move order to go straight through them. But, yeah, unfortunate to Blackhorn's Ravagers that these two Lothran Sea Guard kind of regroup on either side of them. Although this one only has 13 unit models. It's really not doing a lot. It's doing a little bit, but no. Healthy Silvered Guard, too. Yeah, like more than half their HP left. They were not braced, so they don't get their expert charge defense. But still, Blackhorn's Ravagers are able to get in, start to get that damage. Silvern Guard armor is debuffed from being exhausted, so they're not going to shrug off as much of the damage. That 30 weapon strength, 9 AP on the Blackhorn's Ravagers. Pretty good. But the classic hammer and anvil, the few remaining Fireborn. Going to try and maybe line up a rear charge here, or maybe the High Elves just won't risk them for the time being. We allow them to just stand and rest and recover their own vigor. But Kazarak, he comes close. Close enough to be shot by the Lothran Sea Guard. He's only got like 600 HP left. He popped his Apocalyptic Vision to shore up his leadership, but no. He takes a few more hits. Blackhorn's Ravagers also get shot in the back by the other regrouped Sea Guards, and just through attrition, the Beastmen end up losing out there. I honestly am a little sad. I wanted to see how far the Blackhorn's Ravagers could go there, because they already had 2,000 damage value and 15,000 damage dealt. That's insane for just like a regular sword and shield infantry unit, basically. And I know they have a lot of sort of special traits, all right? The speed we talked about, the specific situation of having a lot of infantry, slow infantry skirmishers that are relatively expensive that they can run down and slaughter. I have to say, very impressive performance. Hindsight, obviously, 2020. Maybe just a few more. Shielded Gores, not going to be nearly as good the regular ones, but yeah, maybe you bring some like Sand Gores in as a sort of stand-in, or I don't know. I mean, obviously the Corn Gores, they have a little bit of armor, but hindsight, again, 2020. It's nice to have some anti-large, certainly against something like the Fireborn, but yeah, I don't know. What would I cut here? I'd actually probably cut the Butchers of Kalkengard and then take more, maybe the dual hand weapon Gores for the anti-infantry damage, and just try and cut 3 units. They would be pretty vulnerable to archer fire as well, but just give you some extra width here. Of course, the Bray Shaman's also a super nice tool to have, but Galrush able to hold on for the win there with his Lothran Sea Guard, doing most of the heavy lifting. Not really too surprising. But Staunch Line of Spears definitely goes a long way against the Beastmen. So that's it for today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you like this sort of content, sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button. Every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thanks again. We'll see you next time.